Hello, hello, mi gente, and welcome to Border Sessions here live at Star City Studio. We are here with the other half from yours truly, El Paso, Texas. Here at Border Sessions, we are connecting people through arts and music, and nothing better than our other half here with this band from El Paso. Take it away, guys, the other half.
This first song is called The Good Son.
Before the bright spots, darling, you're getting warmer. You play the mind games when they create a storm. Before the bright spots, darling, you're getting warmer. You play the mind games when they create a storm. Okay, let me go. I was only trying to maintain my cool. Always wondered why I played a fool. All the while there was a trigger to pull. The morning after, no, haven't you stopped? You're teasing around. Tell me what you got, and I'll cry out. It ain't a lie. Now where's the good son? Before the bright spots, darling, you're getting warmer. You play the mind games when they create a storm. Before the bright spots, darling, you're getting warmer. You play the mind games when they create a storm. Okay, will you see them again? They will all tell you things turn out so well. When the life is just a living hell. For me, it was a tough act to sell.
This next song is going to be called Rem 2. I'm not too sure what's to put this to you, my girl. Time finding a like-minded soul is taking its toll on me lately. Don't want it, I can't keep count on you. You spilled it once or maybe twice. That crossed your mind too many times. of unprotected. You're shaking up what's wrong, what's right. Had yourself a hell of a time last night. You ought to know mistakes made on the front so brave. Will you remember me honestly? How bad do you want me to stay?
Wow, that is the other half live here at Star City Studios. And our aesthetics today, also in our space, is brought to you by an amazing local artist called Diego Robot. We have his paintings there as the backdrop for the other half. Let's get to know you guys a little bit. Steven, why don't you go ahead and introduce the band?
We are the sweaty half. We have on bass, we have Joseph and vocals. No, bass and vocals, we have Joseph Saucedo. Drums, we have Christian Yanez. I'm Steven Seigel. I am guitar and vocals. And we are the other half.
And if I may, I'm going to brag a little bit on y'all's behalf. This indie alternative band here from El Paso has been in Neon Desert 4 times. They have opened up for the likes of Mike Snow, Rah Rah Riot, and The Main at our local venue here, Tricky Falls. That is no easy thing, guys. You've been together since 2013, since March. I hear maybe it was the luck of that month that brought you guys together. We really want to get to know you guys. So how about let's talk about your name a little bit. The other half, I always think about media naranja, which for those of you that are a little bit with the Spanish, it's a little hard. That's my other half, my other orange half, which I think about when I think of your name. So how about you guys tell us a little bit of the history, the backstory?
Well, our name came from a Beatles quote. John Lennon sang a song called Glass Onion, and in the line he sang, to see how the other half lives. And, well, I kind of wanted to see how the other half lives. So I started a band from our old band, Electric Social, which disbanded that year, 213. 213, that's what I call it now. And
that's what we all should call it.
And there were 6 members in that band. Now there's 3 of us left, so it kind of makes sense that the other half is made out of us.
Oh my god!
In a weird way.
The other half, I think also your drummer, Christian, also had an interesting take on the other half. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit of that Greek mythology story you were telling me earlier?
It was from Plato's Symposium, pretty much the theory of Aristophanes on the theory of love, where in the olden times, human beings were kind of 2 people kind of put back to back. So one person was made up of 4 arms, 4 legs, 2 heads.
Right.
And we did something to anger the gods, and our punishment was Zeus struck us with a bolt of lightning, and our, I guess, eternal punishment was having to find our other halves. And that was what Aristophanes thought was the definition of love and where it came from.
I think it's so interesting that this like dynamic trifecta, an odd number, has made a beautiful half with you guys. You have such an interesting sound, right? Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about playing at Lobra? I know that that's like your common stomping ground, and that may have been the launching place for a tour you guys had last year, right? To the West Coast. Tell us a little bit about that, like the sound that I guess brought you guys together and how you started playing locally and all that.
Well, I mean, we used to play lowbrow consistently, and actually, right next door, what used to be Black Market. That those 2 places, right? Yeah.
Black
in the
Market.
I don't know if you guys remember, but there's a time along back.
The
Black Market,
Percolator.
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yo, on Cincinnati.
those-
Remember that? The good old.
Nasty. Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
we can say that those Cincinnati Black Market, they made us kind of. It's those places are very intimate and kind of. I mean, you can't get a better sound than Lowbrow sometimes. It's just like it's made simply for bands to play and perform and just kind of like blow your minds away.
Absolutely. I definitely agree.
So that's why kind of we like playing there because it's fun. It's really fun.
Speaking of fun, I definitely got to ask, what was the experience like opening up for Mike Snow? I'm not going to lie, Mike Snow is totally one of my favorites. So what was that like?
A big, beautiful blur. That's what I would
A
call it.
big, beautiful.
The one takeaway was they borrowed my lighter that whole night.
Oh my
So-
gosh. Do you
and I
have
still
that
have that lighter in my possession.
in a
Yes, I do.
shrine, in a
Yes, I
box
do.
that no one else can
Absolutely.
touch?
I didn't get any pictures, but I have the lighter. Then that's the most.
That's
important
enough
thing.
proof for all of us.
Absolutely,
Who borrowed it? I got to ask.
all of them.
Oh my gosh. So,
Just took turns with it. They just
So they had part of your lighter. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm kind of geeking out a little bit. So you guys playing for those kinds of likes of people opening up for them, and then also playing Neon Desert. For those of you listening in, watching in, Neon Desert is a homegrown concert that's really grown over the years, and I think you guys kind of have mapped that growth. Playing with them 4 times, you guys have really seen how it's grown. How about you guys tell us a little bit about that experience and how it marked you guys, changed you guys a little bit, made you think a little different?
I think what was cool was being on the same flyer like as some of those big bands, whether it was one of my favorites, Tokyo Police Club, being able to
Definitely.
be, on the same flyer as them, being able to show that out to people. Hey, I played with these guys. We were just being on the same bill on a flyer is, I think it's something you can kind of have for the rest of your life and be able to say like we did this at one point.
Put next to Joseph's lighter on his
Yeah.
shrine.
And one
I
year,
have the weird stories.
yeah.
I got to fist bump Paul
Interpol.
Banks,
Yeah, from
the
Interpol.
lead singer. Yeah,
Fist bump.
Yeah.
Did you not
Our
wash
first-
your
our
hands?
first
that's
year,
all I
yeah.
remember. That's all I remember.
That's awesome. Well, right before we get into the music, because that's what we're here for, I also wanted to delve in a little bit. You guys have such a depth about your name, about how you came together, about your sound. I think we would love to know, who are some of your influences? What's some of the places, sounds that have taken you to have this really in-depth feel for your music?
I grew up on oldies.
Yeah?
Literally going camping almost every other weekend, listening to the Beatles, anything between like Frank Sinatra and just kind of Leo Sayer, like everything that can kind of fall in between oldies, between the 60s and like late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I grew up on. So that's where my songwriting comes from, this very romanticized way.
Yes,
But
romanticized.
kind of like with my twist of like, ooh,
There's a little edge. There's definitely lots of edge.
we can
in
call
your
it sadness.
sound.
We can call it what it really is. It's a little sad.
He was
A
he was
little-
brokenhearted before he even fell in love. That's,
Oh man, that
That's
is
the kind of
beautiful.
person
Go ahead and
Steven is.
repeat that, Joseph. He was what?
he
All
was
right, I'll reenact
brokenhearted. He was brokenhearted before he ever fell in love.
I think that's a new song
There we go.
for you guys.
Was that
That's
in love?
that's a beautiful sentiment. I think when we get into getting to know you guys a little bit more, we'd love to know about your song process, like your songwriting process, because the lyrics, what I could catch, wow, it definitely leaves that ripple effect where like you feel chills, and I feel that heartache as well. Let's go ahead and get back into the music. Take it away. We are here with the other half and the beautiful artwork of Diego Robot, local visionary here in El Paso. Take it away, other half here at Star City Studios, Border Sessions.
This next one is called Slick Talk. sure she's okay. While she's confiding, you sit back, just biding your time, your time. 2 a.m., let's close the tab. Too early, you play down again. You pull her away, make sure she's okay. While she's confiding, you sit back, just biding your time, your time. Two a.m., let's close the tab. Too early, you play down again. And I just left.
This next song's called Dancing on a Line.
Separate street, waiting for your car, waiting for your friends to pick at me. And I crawl on the block and I search for your hand to flag me down, so you understand that I'll do what I can for you. Yes, I want you for my own. Yes, I want you for my own. You carry home. I'm lost in the storm. She's breaking my the time when you and I've been all alone. He's walking right by you. I'm craving the time for two. I never thought to commit to new center of crime. We're dancing all the night. We're dancing all the night. Ooh, yes, I want you for my, want you for my own. Oh, yes, I want you for my, want you for my own. To carry home, I'm lost in the storm. She's breaking my heart to the bone. I never wanted to lose myself. She only promised me a lover for the night. It's a heartbreak for 22, and I'm falling hard for you. And I'm falling hard for you. And I'm falling hard. Yes, I want you for my, want you for my own. Yes, I want you for my, want you for my own. To carry home, I'm lost in a storm. She's breaking my heart to the bone. I never wanted to lose myself. She only promised me a lover for the night. It's a heartbreak for 22, and I'm falling hard for you. And I'm falling hard for you. She only promised me a lover for the night. And we were just looking for a good time. We've been dancing all the night.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Dancing on a Line by the Other Half. Man, if I could hear that whole heartbroken line that you said before, that,
There it is.
that tune.
That's a San Antonio written. Oh no, sorry, Austin written.
What happened in
that.
Austin?
You don't want to know.
I don't.
You
I
wanna
do want to know. I want to know what happened. That is a really
Well,
fun
if you
song.
want to know, nice segue. Our album's gonna come out later on this year, so you can find out a little bit more that way if you kind of.
So if people want to know Steven's romantic saga, you guys should check out their album that'll be coming out soon
Steven,
this
Joseph,
year.
and Christian's romantic saga is gonna be all on CD soon. So if you guys want to catch that,
Speaking of which, this dude trifecta that you guys have going on here, male voices with drums that kind of get to your heart, and talking about you say this really cool line in your song, something about all the broke through the bone.
yeah.
I kind of feel that in the drums too. So I really want to delve into your songwriting process. The harmonies you guys pulled there too
Yeah,
are
there's
real
a-
nice.
There's a small percentage of sad boy in all of us, so it's kind of it comes out just right at the good time, right at the right time.
I think it's at a perfect time. So how's the songwriting process for you guys? What's that journey like?
For the most part, I think whoever sings it brought the bigger chunk to the band, and that's how we kind of finish it off.
Okay.
So say if Joseph comes with the good son, he already has a good visual of kind of what he wants to kind of hear,
Mm-hmm.
and we just kind of have to keep replaying it over and over again until kind of he gets like a 70% of satisfaction. You know, like kind of like since he birthed the song, he kind of has a little bit more control over it.
Right.
But he like we all understand that it's for the greater good of the song. So
Sure.
I mean, we have a good time.
It definitely
time.
sounds like it. So you guys, it seems like Joseph, who's on bass, and Steven, who's here on guitar, you guys write the lyrics. You also are creating the melodies. And then I want to know, Christian, how do you jump on in there and give us that heartbreaking beat that you just, it gets there?
I kind of just hit things. Um,
Yeah.
But for a lot of them, sometimes Steven and Joseph will come up with kind of like a base idea, and we kind of just go off of that based
Okay.
on what kind of they bring to the structure.
We'll play him a new song and kind of give him a carton of ice cream and the movie Never Been Kissed and kind of be like, this is kind of what we're going for.
That's exactly what happens.
That's kind of how it,
So the beautiful thing is that we pretty much share the same catalog of influences and music that we both like, that we all like.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever we come to the table with an idea, the other two know exactly what we're going for, the sound, the feel. And that's something that I guess very few bands have the luxury of having two other guys that know exactly where you're coming from. And I'm always pleasantly surprised with whatever drum
Yeah.
stylings or whatever guitar work that Steven comes up with. And it's worked so
and
far.
the bass work that Joseph comes up with. Let's not leave him out
Sometimes.
of that.
It sounds like the most epic bromance, guys.
It's beautiful.
I
We're pretty
wish I could-
bromatic.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
romantic.
not everyone's ready for something like this. I mean,
Yeah, I also wanted to talk a little bit more just before we
Oh,
kind of take us out. You guys talk about these topics other than I think heartbreak. How about the good son? How does that, Joseph? You were I think Stephen was saying that you kind of brought the biggest chunk for that song. I think growing up in the border, we have such interesting identities here, and I really want to know the influence of the binational living that has in your songs and your music and the way that we love and the way that we talk and all that kind of a little piece of everything.
So if you're talking about, I guess, the border feel, we have that song Slick Talk, which certainly has a little bit of that Latin beat, that Latin feel,
Definitely.
and definitely a part of where we came from, what we're used to listening to. I mean, we grew up on Santana and stuff like that. That's really he's God, I guess, for Mexican Americans. That's as good as it gets.
yeah,
But
whoever watches this, I hope they don't just assume that all of El Paso is just like Santana.
Of
we just,
course
we
not.
just
you got Selena
that's just
too.
a
You
great
got,
yeah. Oh, that's
A.B. Quintanilla on bass work.
that's kind of let's do one of those.
But we definitely do try to keep it local and keep it regional and whatever it is that we're feeling here, the inspiration that we derive from our hometown.
Yeah, a
It
lot of our
definitely
music
seeps into the music.
it's really impacted by our own lives here in El Paso. So I mean, kind of you can hear it kind of come through in the music. Slick Talk example, very driven by Latin beats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. That rima, I could definitely hear it in that song for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and take us into our last song. Guys, this has been Border Sessions here at Star City Studios with our aesthetics brought to you by Diego Robot, who is part of Los Visionaries here in El Paso. He has that awesome Latin binational love of those colors that we have here in this area. The other half, it has been a beautiful, beautiful experience with you here at the studio.
Thank you.
guys
Likewise.
Thank you.
llegan al
Appreciate it.
corazón, and I feel it, that heartbreak at 22. Yeah, that
Oh,
happened. Yeah, definitely. For sure.
You weren't supposed to hear that.
Oh, I
That-
heard. I heard.
We're
I
pulling
have these
energy off of
headphones.
these two posters, just so you guys know. Like these two.
These
they're
two
insane.
paintings.
This
Yeah,
one
these are-
behind
they're
me is
insane.
freaking me out ever
Yeah.
since I got here. But
It's because it's bearing into your soul,
Yeah,
Joseph.
it's 'cause
just clinging on.
It's
man.
scaring me because I feel like it knows me. That's probably the scariest part.
It's because it does. Those are some of our most ancient gods of our culture. So it's
Tomas,
pretty cool.
if you can kind of get rid of this.
Turn
one.
that around. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork.
Guys, this is the other half here at Star City Studios. This is Border Sessions, connecting people through art and music. Guys, go ahead and take us out with Life with De Niro is a Charm.
Best love
love that's ours to keep. Tonight I count my lucky stars when San Antonio feels awful far. Drunk at the Kremlin, I get the feeling the dance floor is ours for the night. 4 long years I had my doubts, but I'm willing to put up a fight. I get the feeling the dance floor is ours for the night. 4 long years I had my doubts, but I'm willing to put up a fight.